Supporters of Honorable Amuriat, can you please leave that step of the EC to do the work? All the supporters, please give way. You're welcome, Honorable Amuriat, our second candidate today. I now take this opportunity to hand over the EC to do the needful. Thereafter, they hand over back to me. Honorable President Kawamwini.
Thank you very much. The Director of Ceremonies, colleagues in the party, colleagues in the media, fellow Ugandans. The second aspirant, Honorable Engineer Patrick Amuriat Oboy Amoti, is Amoti, has just arrived. Party electoral officials are ascertaining and verifying his documents. Thereafter, we proceed to the second chamber. Honorable Engineer Patrick Oboy Amoti, I welcome you in my capacity as the returning officer. Equal, I'm also going to ascertain and pass through all these documents with your encouragement.
Thank you very much. I actually thought you wanted to.
Yo. Nasajja enviiri temusobola kwambala masuuti bange ebifaananyi bansira busi.
Muriat Oboy Patrick is proposed by Mwijuche Francis. Second, Azar Kasoz Ibrahim. Uganda Abubakar, Wansarara Emmanuel, and many others. I'm now going to give him this certificate of nomination, where he will have to sign and indicate his name on the certificate of nomination, and the Chief Electoral Commissioner will do the same, and the date. FD Soil, please supporters of Honorable Amriat, you may need the disqualification of your candidates if you don't behave. And you please keep quiet. You welcome him after he has addressed the country. Honorable Amriat, sir, now that you are my product, I take this opportunity to invite you and roll you out to the country. You'll be addressing the country, what you do when you become the president of this country, Uganda. Not only are the candidate of FDC, but if you succeed in FDC primaries, you'll be the president of this country, Uganda. So I take this opportunity to welcome you beside me here to address the people of Uganda.
all of you leaders of the FDC in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank God for bringing me this far. A journey that I never expected to even begin, but most importantly, to get to this level. A poor presidency is going to bring a person who is all round in this nation. Born in the Eastern District of Soroti, to an Atesot father, but also a mixed blood of both the Acholi people and the people of Lango. So Poa is an improved breed of the Ugandan citizen. Poa is a person who has distinguished himself as an all-round person, having one of his mothers being a born of Bulo in Butambala. While in Butambala, I am called in Subuga after my stepmother. And therefore, this inevitably makes me a subject of His Royal Highness Sabasaja Kabaka Maguyondo. Throughout my career, I have walked around the country and made friends from the most northern tip of this country in Dodoth to the most southern tip of this country in Bufumbira. And therefore, I am a proud citizen of this country who knows about what happens from the mountains of the sun to the mountains of the moon in the Rwenzori. Poa does not come to this race by chance. Poa is a fully molded and baked product of the struggle. I bring to the presidency of this country 28 years of uninterrupted experience. And I owe this to the forefathers of the opposition politics in this country. I am not going to talk about the way I roamed the streets of Soroti during the election of the 1980. I am going to talk about my recent involvement in the politics of this year, of this country, beginning around about the 90s, where as a student leader, I participated in activism. At the time, I was good at making leaders, and probably not good at making a leader out of myself. Today I'm here to assure the country that here comes a fresh kid on the blocks to come and change the terrain of the politics of this country. I have been in every election since the election to the Constituent Assembly, and this is 6 elections out of 6. And as I speak about this, I would like to honor and give tribute to the Honorable Owekitibwa Paul Kawanga Semogerere, the retired team leader who was a candidate in 1996. I, together with the late Omolo Peter, carried out and coordinated his campaign in the region of Teso, and we were victorious against the dictatorship. It is also for a fact that we were propped by the able leadership of the current MP of Dokolo constituency, the Honorable Imad Cecilia Ogwal, who couldn't be here at this very glorious occasion where her son rises to the occasion to prepare for the leadership of this country. I must also say that I offered a distinguished service to the people of Uganda through my leadership that I offered while the Member of Parliament for Kumi County for 3 terms, beginning 2001 to the year 2016. I am a product of defiance. And being a product of defiance, we are going into this election in a defiance mode. Nobody should have any doubt about how we are going to conduct this election. And so, if anybody thinks that they are relieved by the absence of our founding father, Colonel retired Dr. Kiza Besigye, they are badly mistaken. Because before you, my fellow comrades, stands a product of Dr. Kiza Besigye's molding. And we are going to go to every nook of this country. We are going to go round every curve in this country. We are going to climb every hill of this country and descend every valley of this country as we go around exposing the 35 years of dictatorship that Mr. Museveni and his cronies and supporters brought to this country. I am going to be the bridge between the young generation and the aging generation. My age will allow me to do that, to be able to effectively speak to the young people who are majority in our country demographically, and to speak to the minority old people, assuring the young people of the safety of their lives as we progress to the future, and assuring the elders of a safe retirement. Nobody needs to be afraid, because this bridge called power exists and is capable. I come to this election without a burden of my past. because my past is very clear. I come with clean hands. I come to this election without a grain of fear of the present time, because I have not conflicted with anybody at all in terms of my present situation. I come to this election with the hope for a better future for the people of Uganda. And therefore, my presidency is going to stand on 5 main agendas. Number 1 is security of education of the Ugandan people. Uganda will never develop unless we pay attention to education of the people, especially the young people. When I watch what is happening today with the junta, I find that security of education is a mere casual matter. What would we tell to our people about these young people who go to UPE, graduate without being able to speak any word in English, are ushered into USE, graduate without realizing even the very basic skills for survival, and beyond that, have just got to go and get casually employed. The majority of the young people coming through our educational system into becoming night watchmen or women, border cyclists, people who are wasted away in the villages, some of them adopting queer manners and drowning themselves into alcohol and drug abuse. Power brings hope to the citizens of this country, in that the emphasis that we are going to lay in education is for us to have proper learning in this area. And for me, it is not going to be guesswork, because power is a teacher as well, unable to discern whatever happens within the educational sector. We are therefore going to be offering to every secondary school going child a computer. This is a promise of my government, because we would like to develop a high-tech community and society that is not going to rely on labor-based ways of earning, but on a basis of knowledge and in high-tech where this country is going currently. I would like to promise that we will learn from the examples of the Asian tigers who have turned around their fortunes and have made their mark on the world economic map of this country. Without education, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed nowhere. And therefore, an educated community, in my view and in the way I am going to run this country, is one that is desirable. The second agenda is for us to look at the economy. As all of you are aware, fellow Ugandans, the economy is on a downturn. Today, Mr. Museveni is fighting even to pay the workers of this country. In order to manage this, he has to acquire endless loans, loan after loan. This is not going to help the people of Uganda. It is not going to help even Museveni himself. And so our economy needs to undergo a turnaround. Under the poor leadership of this country, we are going to put into the economy money that will be productive rather than consumptive. Today, most of our money goes into consumptive expenditure. A huge cost of administration is something that we continue to suffer. This is going to be brought to an end by a poor presidency. Power is going to stop the hemorrhage of our resources in corruption and enrichment of a few individuals and families in this country. We are not going to accept the taxpayers' money, the taxpayer who wake up in the morning to soil and toil, to be enjoyed by a few opportunistic characters. And so, if you are a corrupt person in this country, I am sounding a warning to you. Time is up, because power has arrived on the political scene. After we have got all our resources secure, we will then address the third agenda of my presidency. And this is going to be the agenda of improvement of our biggest economic activity, and that is agriculture. Today, the administration gives to agriculture about 4% of the budget. And yet Mr. Museveni and his people continue to draw colossal sums of money for their personal maintenance. As president of this country, I will live an ordinary life. It is something that I have practiced even when I was in a position of responsibility. It is getting our priorities upside down for a president of the country to draw from the consolidated fund huge amounts of money, and yet agriculture that employs 83% of our citizens is suffering underfunding. We will cause mechanization of agriculture at different levels. We will put money into procurement of hybrid inputs, including seeds and pesticides. We are going to provide for water for agriculture, something that has continued to develop the agricultural sector. And so that way we think that we would have reached the majority of our population. Today the young people, and this is the fourth pillar, which is more or less cross-cutting, are over 80% of the population are the youth. And yet the youth continue to suffer from unemployment. You study, graduate from university, and come to roam the streets of Kampala and the other towns. The youth lead degrading lives, and this is going to end under my presidency. We will be putting into youth development and skilling a big percentage of the revenue of this country. And I want to promise up to about 50% of our efforts will go into youth and creating employment through industrial development and through high-tech development that I have alluded to. Fourth agenda of my presidency is to ensure health for all at no cost. It is very disheartening as we talk about progress and the march towards a middle-income population, we still witness women dying from childbirth. Infant mortality rate is still very high and unacceptable. I will be deliberately putting in more resources to ensure that these 17 women who die every day from childbirth undeservedly will no longer die. That our children who die from common diseases, from diarrhea and malaria, no longer die, and we will be bringing the mortality rate down. We have got a formula to do this. My presidency is going to insist or lay emphasis on preventive rather than curative medicine. And so we are going to follow the diseases to the household where they come from and stop people going to hospitals by employing public health mechanisms to stop people catching diseases. That way we are going to save a lot of money that is desirable in our economy and ensure that we have a healthy community that will be able to work and ensure economic progress of this country. I would like to promise the people of Uganda superb state-of-the-art infrastructure. Luckily enough, that is the other pillar. You have in power a professional who understands the construction of bridges, who understands the construction of roads, who understands the construction of all sorts of infrastructure, and who understands above all costing of this all. We lose a lot of money in infrastructure development in this country. As a result, the cost of construction of a road today has gone through the roof, and we think that this hemorrhage can save the country up to 45% of the money that is going into infrastructure development today. My dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the FDC is in the process of finalizing its manifesto. I have been part of the manifesto development of the FDC, and I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to offer to Ugandans the best manifesto ever since we began running for political office, from the time that multi-party political dispensation was ushered into this country a second time. We are going out in the population, ladies and gentlemen, to speak to the minds and hearts of the FDC. My dear friends in the FDC, I beg that I find favor in you in considering me a worthy servant of this nation. I seek to become the first, not the first citizen of this country, but the first servant of this country. Mine is going to be servant leadership. Mine is going to be modest leadership. Mine is going to be an agenda of uniting this country. And as I've told you, I have got all the credentials to ensure that as a country, as the FDC leadership, we will be able to offer to the people of Uganda. I want, as I conclude my remarks, to say that I am extremely disappointed by the increase in the numbers of people suffering from COVID-19. And I believe it is the reckless way in which the NRM government and its supporters have handled their own campaign. I have seen even members of cabinet floating the standard operating procedures that they are meant to promote. They are not leading by example. And if this continues, then we as the FDC are not going to remain the single people who will adhere to the standard operating procedures and to the measures stipulated by the World Health Organization. So this is a warning to the NRM that we will not sit back and continue to watch them killing the people of Uganda, infecting them with COVID, which does not have either a cure or a vaccine. And so unless they stop, the brigade that is behind there is going to swing it. We are also, and I would like to promise the FDC, going to conduct a civil campaign. And at this point, I want to congratulate and honor my elder, the chairman of the party, Owechitibwa Ambassador Waswa Birigwa, who has, Birigwa is his name, who has picked forms and completed them and returned them. And I believe he is a worthy competitor. I am glad that God has brought a drizzle. In my community, when it drizzles this way, it's a sign of good omen. It's a sign of good luck. And so I am confident that I come to the community guided spiritually by God. And in Him, we will continue to gather strength and be the worth leaders to lead our country, Uganda. I want to appeal to the FDC members, regardless of whom you support in this contest, to act in a civil manner, that we are not going to be a bad example out there, that we will not be using abusive language. Everybody is watching us as we go out to prove to the world that we are the king of democracy of this country. As you might have noticed, all the other political parties who have announced presidential candidates have not had any form of competition. You can name all of them. They have had sole candidates announced without an elective procedure to choose one. For us, it's different here. And so we will be going out to ask for votes from Ugandans. We will be hitting the road, or the ground running, and I believe at the end of the day, the best among the best will triumph. I would like to make, even before we get there, a commitment to the FDC leadership and the party that should this election not go my way, I will respect the outcome of the election and I'll rally behind the individual who would have won. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming to bless this occasion. God bless you. God bless our country, Uganda. I say this all for God and our country. FDCOA! FDCOA! One Uganda! One people! Thank you very much indeed.
That marks the end of our program tonight. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen.